What's good with everyone? This is your boy DJ's Raw and Cut Truth. I got my boy Hoop Jargon on the line. We're about to talk about something that we've been preaching, not preaching, but saying for a while. We knew that LaMelo Ball would not be the number one pick. Uh, I've stated due to politics, he won't be the number one pick. We just pretty much looked at the tea leaves and see what everybody's doing. I knew it wasn't going to be the Warriors because Steve Kerr has beef with LeVar, and I knew it wasn't going to be the Minnesota Timberwolves because they have D'Angelo Russell, and D'Angelo probably told management that they didn't want to draft Ball. That's my opinion, but I asked Hoop Jargon what he thinks. What you think, Hoop Jargon?
Yeah, man. Once you start to see the storyline shake out, you can kind of see what was going on in regards to your statement about Minnesota. Yeah, and I always stayed on that. I'm just like, D'Angelo Russell got moved out of his job one time before by a ball. So I just ain't see it happening twice. If you remember, he just started point guard for the Lakers before Lonzo got drafted. So, you know what I mean? I didn't see history repeating in that capacity, man. That'd have been a little rough, man. That'd have been a little rough on the dude. So, yeah, I never saw him in Minnesota being a real possibility because they're just too similar as far as positioning and size and what have you. Now, Golden State, if you remember, I did predict that he would go there. That's what me thinking Golden State had the third pick. This was like in February when I said this, and it looked like it was a chance that he would probably have another opportunity when Clay went down. But it looks like Golden State just stayed to their draft board and did what they did. And if you believe, it was a Steve Kerr influenced decision, I get it. But yeah, man, it shook out how most of us knew. Charlotte was sitting there at 3. They need a somebody that's going to be, a franchise driver to bring interest to it, to the team. Because I mean, name 4 players on the Charlotte Hornets. I'll wait.
Exactly. We know they have solid players in Devontae Graham. He shot and made 200 threes. That's nothing to sneeze at. And then P.J. Washington had a good rookie year. But we're talking about franchise changers potentially, and that's what you get in LaMelo. I made a video about Michael Jordan will select LaMelo no matter what at 3 if he's available. I had so much backlash saying, Jordan doesn't like the Ball family. He's not going to do that. And look what happened.
Well, you got to understand, a lot of people, they speak not from a standpoint of insight. They speak off like how they would feel if it was them. You know what I mean? So You got to understand how a dude with a ruler class mentality moves like Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan don't give a damn about politics. He don't care about social issues. So you think he going to get so personal about LeVar saying he can beat on one-on-one that he's not going to take the obvious best pick? Come on, man. That's way off brand for Jordan, bro. So people, what you see is they just project their own insecurities, their own emotions, their own feelings on people who move different. And what you'll see is, brother, they're just wrong every time, man.
Man, so true. Look at what has happened to the Charlotte Hornets once they drafted LaMelo Ball. Ticket prices are skyrocketing right now. The merch are being bought up at record pace for the Charlotte Hornets. And Michael Jordan, even though he selected LaMelo at number 3, it feels like he selected him at number 1 because the franchise is getting so much in return.
Absolutely.
Michael Jordan is a businessman. I try to tell these shines that, but they didn't want to listen because they thought Michael Jordan is like these emotional people out there.
Mm-hmm.
But he's clearly not.
Never been there. When have you ever seen Jordan take the emotional route with something, bro? When have you ever seen that?
Never.
Ever. Maybe you could say his Hall of Fame speech when he had a little dig at Byron Russell. When he was, he said he was the reason why he made that game winning shot because, basically Russell was talking all that noise. So maybe that's the only time you really see Mike kind of get out of character, as far as being emotional or what have you. But yeah, man, come on, man. That's just not how Jordan moved, bro.
Absolutely, man. They got to realize this is Michael Jordan, the businessman we're talking about. This is not Michael Jordan, the player. And the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Warriors, even though they selected some talented players, They're not getting back a return like Michael Jordan is. Michael Jordan is winning right
Absolutely.
now. And I
Absolutely.
and I get that they overpaid for Gordon Hayward, but I told everybody to look at this in a glass ceiling. A lot of players on the Hornets are on rookie deals, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're a small market team, and when you're on a small market team, you overpay.
Mm-hmm.
And here's what Jordan is trying to do, and I don't think people are listening. When you find your point guard, the number one objective is surround him with a lot of talented shooters,
Mm-hmm.
so he doesn't have to do everything. Look how many shooters they have on the Hornets. They look a lot better on paper than they did last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, yeah, and when I hear that scenario, I think of two things. One, yeah, man, bad teams, you got to overpay for talent because you got to lure them away from historic franchises some kind of way. Like Gordon Hayward came from the Boston Celtics, the second most successful franchise in NBA history. So, of course, you got to give him something to take him away from that scenario. And not only that, you're playing for his old coach, Brad Stevens, which you remember he played for him in Butler in college. So, of course, you got to, up the ante to get him away. So, I don't understand how people don't see that obvious connection with that. And secondly, man, and you 100% on point, brother. But, and I ask you this with LaMelo bringing so much value outside of the actual team, when has he not done that? He got
Right?
Chino Hills being a household high school name now. You got when he went to Lithuania, they reported how their social media follower had went through the roof, and people actually want to buy their jerseys. You go to Spire, their social media presence went through the roof when LaMelo came there, and then finally when he went to the Illawarra Hawks, their franchise just there was a failing franchise as far as monetary was speaking. It went through the roof, and this kid got like 5 million Instagram followers and stuff. Like he has more than Lonzo. You know what I'm saying? He has more than every pick in the draft the last 4 years. You know what I'm saying? So come on, man.
Yeah. Speaking of the impact of what LaMelo has done, look at Spire. Spire was just a regular old prep school, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now it's a respectable elite level school where they
Mm-hmm.
get a lot of recruits go there. And it wasn't like that before he was playing for Spire. The NBL, the National Basketball League in Australia, there's a couple players that weren't drafted, right, but were selected as free agents to play in the NBA this year. I think
Mm-hmm.
about four players. This is what happens when you bring a player like LaMelo in. That's why I call him the stimulus package because he
Mm-hmm.
fixes whatever it is on your franchise and then some.
Yep. And I think I like about LaMelo is his personality, unlike Lonzo, who just don't really have much to say ever. So I just don't see how people hate on Lonzo. Like he doesn't talk, like hardly ever. But LaMelo, he gonna win a lot of people over because he's very charismatic. He's a wild boy, man. So when people gonna have this conundrum is that they got their opinions about him already. They gonna end up liking him. And I was kind of seeing in the comments where his first interview he had with the Hornets, people was like, "Man, I didn't know he was that cool. Like I didn't know he was that funny." Like, I mean, if you've been following the family, you already knew that LaMelo had that personality. So a lot of people gonna have these. I ain't gonna say an epiphany. I ain't gonna go that far, but they're gonna just like, dang, I guess he ain't that bad. I just ain't know. So it's gonna be funny to see it play out, bro.
That's funny that you mentioned that. Um, I tell people all the time, don't judge LaMelo on lethargic interviews. Like when it's professional, that's not his arena. That's just the person he is. But when he interviews with someone that makes him more relaxed, he can relate to, you
Mm-hmm.
see the charisma, you see the energetic side to him. And there was people in the comment section saying, "Man, I didn't realize how cool LaMelo is." And that's what he is. He has that swagger. He has that
Mm-hmm.
aura to him that people clamor to. And that attracts fans, but it also attracts haters because they wish they could be at LaMelo's level.
That's true
But
too.
since they know they're not and they're not ballers, they resort to hate.
That's true. Yeah, and that's a very good point, and it's something to point out with guys with a very uh, smart cerebral cortex like LaMelo. That's what people gonna find too. He's a very very smart kid. And what you find is in the point you made about him, certain people, he just keep it like simple with you. He don't go to too much conversation. Who's that remind you of? Kyrie Irving. He's not
Mm-hmm.
really fit. He ain't got much to say. Because people who are like that, I think I'm like that in a certain way. If you ain't got nothing to bring to the conversation, I don't really have much to say to you. If you just give me softball stuff to say, like I'm not interested in that. But if you give me something fruitful, you give me something I can go off of, and I'm gonna give you a lot. You know what I mean? And I think that's the case with LaMelo. If you remember, like you talking about, it's scholastics. Like this kid is a straight A kid. Well, it may not be straight A, but he made mostly A's, and he just was naturally smart, and he would get bored after he learns it. That's just who he is. And so you're just gonna see that a lot, man. And so a lot of people gonna slowly pick up on when he's interested. He's gonna have a lot to say, and he's gonna be a very charismatic kid. On top of all that.
Yeah, I'm excited. I like what the Hornets are doing. They're doing what the Lakers didn't do with Lonzo. I said from the beginning, the Lakers were wrong at how they tried to develop Lonzo. They didn't put anything around him.
Mm-hmm.
No elite shooters, no elite veterans that can just do the right thing. They don't need the ball. They can play without the ball. What have I been saying? 3 and D players need to be surrounded by Lonzo. That didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
You look at Charlotte. No matter what you say about Charlotte, Michael Jordan is surrounding LaMelo with talent, athletes, shooters, rebounders. Look at the roster. It tells you that if he's surrounded LaMelo with talent so he can flourish. And I
Yeah.
wish Lonzo would have had that opportunity. That's why LeVar has said constantly, it's not where you get drafted, it's who you go to.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, and look even further. I mean, the Lakers dropped the ball in so many ways. No pun intended. With Lonzo I mean, you just played him in terrible spurts. You didn't even let him do what he does well, which is lead, which is direct, which is put people in position to win. You just pull them in, yanking them, pull them in, yanking them. So yeah, I mean, it's just so many ways you can decipher that situation. It's just like, bro, like, come on, man. If you're gonna bring him in and you say his name gonna be in the Raptors and all that, at least at the very minimum, if you can't bring the guys in from the front office, just let them play. Let him go out there and do what he's done his whole career, man. Like so, yeah, they dropped the ball in so many ways, man.
Oh, absolutely. And we get it. There's things for Lonzo to improve on, like driving to the basket, being assertive on offense. We get
Yes.
that. But when you're drafting someone that high, you got to put them through the fire so you know what you're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yep.
what the Lakers did wrong.
Yeah. Well, the Lakers handling him with kid gloves, and that is literally the opposite of what his father did for him his whole life. His father never made excuses for him. You're gonna play against the best, and you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna you gonna learn about trial by fire is what they call that approach. And all of a sudden, the Lakers want to handle him with kid gloves, and he's never been handled like that in his life. So of course you're gonna get a different result. Now, unfortunately, injuries had something to do with the situation as well. But you're doing him in a way that he's not even used to doing just because you're scared. When he's not scared himself, I think there was an interview not too long ago when he was maybe it was LaMelo. He was just saying like his dad always made him play up, and he always played the best, so he used to it. Like none of that affects him. And I'm sure Lonzo went through the same thing. So it's like, dude, like, why are you handling like a little baby when he's never been treated like a baby? You know what I mean?
Man, that's spot on. As a coach, when you have a father or even parents tell you, I don't mind you cussing out my son.
There
I
you
don't
go.
mind you getting into my son so he can play better. I just want him to play to his potential. That's that's every coach's dream.
Absolutely.
Luke Walton is an idiot for not doing that. I was like, why is he not getting? You supposed to get on your point guard.
Yep.
Supposed to. Looking at NBL, the head coach of the Illawarra Hawks, there was times when LaMelo didn't play to his defensive potential, when he wasn't hustling or getting steals, the coach got on him.
Yep.
And what happened after that? He started to play better.
Yep.
See,
Yep.
that's what you're supposed to do.
It is. I mean, we all remember that famous app post game interview. Well, not interview, but like they had LeVar yelling at the team when LaMelo was playing AAU. and he was like, "You a selfish MF." Yeah, he like
Mm-hmm.
you sorry. You gonna be sorry. You don't really want this. You gonna be sorry until you give effort on both sides of the court and play like a leader. Blah blah blah. I said he's used to that. And you see LaMelo, he wasn't sulking really. He just listened to his dad like, okay, all right. Like he's used to that. And I'm sure Zoe again got the same type of scolding. Like this is how he is. Like so, why are you handling him like he's a a little bi when he's used to being talked to like a man already? So what's he did the hard work for you? I don't understand, man.
Man, it's funny, man. You look at horrible coaches. Lonzo never played for a coach that's above 500. That's
Yeah.
so is Bi. So that's alarming. Look at the Kings. The Kings should have never gave away Dave Yeager. They probably would have been in a playing game. They would have been better. But look at De'Aaron Fox. Yes, he got paid, but he stuck with Luke Walton until they fire him.
Indeed. Yeah.
And you know they're not going to make the playoffs this year. The West is too loaded.
The West is hella loaded unless Fox takes a big step forward, man. And they just lost Harry Giles, which I know wasn't heavy in their rotation.
Man.
Marvin Bagley pretty much is a better version of the same player. So kind of took his shine a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, it's just like, but Luke, and I love Luke Walton because I'm a Lakers fan. But Luke Walton, the coach, man, I just saw a lot of bad. You know what? I've not seen good from Luke Walton yet. Like the same issues he was having with Zoe, he was having coaching De'Aaron Fox. And so I know a lot of people love De'Aaron Fox and what have you. But at the same time, what has De'Aaron Fox really done for you to have this great love affair for? And I ain't saying it's his fault. It's he still has not made the playoffs yet. He still has issues being healthy, which ain't Coach Luke Walton's fault. But they had problems winning close games. And that just goes to show from lack of preparation. That goes to lack of game preparedness, situational preparedness, let me say that. And like, I just don't see how Luke Walton is still employed when he's still struggling with the same thing. Like when he coached the Lakers, man, like we would give games up after we had a nice lead. We just couldn't keep leads. So I just, I guess I kind of went off on a tangent about Luke. It's just like, man, like when does the shelf life get cut off for a coach, man? You know what I mean?
Yeah, the only reason why De'Aaron was still able to average his stats while having Luke Walton as a coach is because his mindset to drive. He's one of those players, like, if I don't see nothing there, I'm taking it to the basket.
Absolutely.
So you got to give him credit on that. But, yeah, they do act like De'Aaron Fox have been like Tatum or somebody who's been winning.
Yeah.
And it's the weirdest thing. Now, me and you, we support all H-Town athletes
Absolutely.
who make it to the pros. So shout out to De'Aaron Fox for that. But we're being real. Like, come on, man. Y'all acting like he's been an all-star. He hasn't even been an all-star yet. But I get why they do it. They do it because it's the De'Aaron Fox versus Lonzo.
Mm-hmm.
So they clamor to him because he's the anti-Lonzo.
There you go.
That's the only reason. It's not because he's made all-stars, which he hasn't, or anything else. It's because the De'Aaron Fox versus Lonzo, and nobody will ever convince me otherwise.
No, you're absolutely right on point. I was about to use that exact same terminology, man. He represents the anti-Zoe, man. He is literally he represents the sword that you can slay the Lonzo hype with. And it's funny, man. It's goofy stuff you still see on the news. With sports talk. Yeah, lit him up for 44 points in the NCAA tournament, and they admit that Lonzo beat him earlier that year. But that one game is like the one thing you can reference every time to kind of undercut Lonzo. I can say I don't understand it, but I do understand it. But it's kind of silly when you sit back and, when you really sit back and evaluate, it's like that's really what y'all gonna ride out like forever. That De'Aaron Fox represents this, this the again the sword to slay the dragon that is Alonzo Ball hype. Like I just it's silly to observe, bro.
Yeah, hoop jargon, man. It's sad no one points out that Lonzo's mother had a stroke, and I knew then. I said UCLA's not going to beat Kentucky. His head's not going to be in the game.
Yeah.
It's human. When your mom goes through something, man, you can't be like, I'm gonna play for my mother. You don't know if your mother's gonna be alive or not.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I would say this: some players can channel it into like some energy, but a lot of personality types, of course, it's going to be weighing on your mind, um, pretty heavily. And Reggie Miller used to talk about this too. He would try to take the smallest thing and try to manifest it into like negative energy to play harder with a chip on his shoulder. So some dudes do that. Kobe used to explain it. What do you call it? Like Mamba magic? It's like when you take negative things and turn them the opposite to make it be your muse. So some dudes really do. They look for anything to try to channel that energy. But yeah, now you're right. I mean, I seen Brent Favre play with his father passed. He played relatively well. So some people can do that. But yeah, like with the optics, I mean, in the time, Kentucky, they started getting better at the time. And UCLA had TJ Leaf. And you know what I'm saying? So like some teams peak early, man. And some of them get their stride late. That's what you see in college basketball all the time. So yeah, the optics didn't look great. That's when kind of LeVar came on the scene. So I definitely, I'm not gonna front. When I first saw the matchup, I didn't like LeVar Ball. Like I was just like, who's this loudmouth dude they keep giving camera time to? Until I actually started like listening to what he said. And I actually started cheering for Lonzo Ball, and I didn't know who he was, but I was like, man, I like the story. And so, but the fix kind of got in a little bit, and it didn't quite happen as as advantageous for Zoe or what have you like that. But it was a lot of optics playing for it not working out. You know what I mean? To your point, so that's kind of how I look at that.
Yeah, LaMelo, if let's say they switch roles and he had to play against De'Aaron Fox, I think he would have been better equipped to play that game because of his mentality. You know how LaMelo is, man. If he's playing on that court, he got to put on a show. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? For Lonzo, he's different mentally. He's not mentally weak. I think he's mentally strong because of the hate he received. He's still, you know, people don't understand the hate that Lonzo receives. Most players will self destruct.
Yeah, for sure.
For him to keep his head up and rise above the hate, I mean, that's admirable, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, it's because he was raised like a man. He
Mm-hmm.
raised like a man. You can deal with adversity, and I I want to keep driving this point home. What you see, and excuse my French, pussy ass dudes, they don't understand that for the life of them. They think that too much critique means you got to fold up and roll over and die. Well, it's just too much. No, no, no. There is a big faction of people who thrive in adversity, in doubt. Hell, when I played basketball, man, I played my best when everybody was talking that shit. I loved it. I loved it. I shared this with DKM. Um, I played overseas, bro. I said with AB as well. I played overseas in Germany, and I just left Portugal. And my agent at the time, he was 31. He was still relatively young. Well, in basketball years, you kind of getting up there, but he still was hooping. And I left my Portuguese team. I'm like, man, I'm going home. I can't stand them no more. They messing me over. I'm done. I'm about to go home and just regroup. He's like, well, try out for my team before you leave. We need an American. I was like, bet. I go there. I make the team. I never left Europe. And so we had a big game coming up, and man, it's just about, I'm showing my age, just like 2007. So I forget some of the name of teams I played, but in this little media site, it was called Shoe and Dunk. And it's all in German, so that's when Google Translate was in its infancy stage. Like, but if you translate the banter in there, people were talking about me. They was like, oh well, Mannheim, which is the team I played for, got this new American, and he's clearly a reject because he got cut from his Portuguese team, which wasn't true. But people can say what they want to say if you lead the team. He's like, yeah, man, we gonna take them down and take first place, and he's just a guy that his agent brought over because he's not good enough. And my agent Ron, shout out to Ron Merriweather, he showed it to me. Oh boy, when I tell you I saw fire that next game, And the dude, I remember the guy's name, the best player's name was Hotman, Hotmann. Oh my God, boy, I gave that boy buckets and then some more buckets on top of them buckets. And I remember it was a crazy play where he had a breakaway dunk and I came but chased down. It's like LeBron style, chased down, glassed that shit. And I looked at the crowd and was like screaming, boy. I remember that so vividly, bro. But that headline in that little blog site, it fired me up so much, man. I just remember just like I've never been that pumped up for a game probably ever in my life. Well maybe it's another time. I just can't really recall. But yeah, man, sometimes people thrive in that space. So I want to say that, it's not necessarily a bad thing getting that negative stuff to boost you up. So
Yeah, man. I just hope for the best for Lonzo. I hope he finds himself.
yeah.
I'm looking at the Pelicans roster. I don't know what the heck they doing. They got more point guards than anybody else.
Point guards and small forwards, man. That's the Pelicans.
I'm like, man, good luck. That's all I can say, man. Good luck, man. Like
Oh man, so
what's
true,
that movie
man.
Taken? Like the international enemy.
Good luck. Yeah,
Good
yeah,
luck.
yeah.
Good luck.
That's a great movie, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Excuse me. Yeah, that's a great movie. Yeah, man, it's funny, man. So to kind of bring it back full circle, when people say, "Oh man, you overpaid for Gordon Hayward," I'm just like, man, listen, man. You have a lot of team needs on that team, and it's a lot of needs. You need a backup center. You need they got point guards out the ass in Charlotte, but you know what I'm saying? You need other stuff to fill that out. And more importantly, you need another reliable guy that's gonna give you, Gordon Hayward gonna give you about 25 and 27 and 5 is probably gonna give you. Well, 27 and like 3 or 4, somewhere around there. He's a smart
Hey,
player.
Hoop
He's
Jargon, I
cerebral.
gotta say this. I gotta
Go
say
ahead.
this. I'm glad you point this out. Here's what I'm about to say. They're looking at Gordon State Hayward's stats as the fourth option in the Celtics,
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
Where he averaged 17, 7, and 8. Here's the thing. That's the fourth option. Gordon Hayward as the first option, he's going to average 20 plus points.
For sure. Sure. And even further, he damn near, while we tripping, he may be just a small market kind of guy. Like
True.
he played at a mid-major at Butler. Now the mid-major was wildly successful. I think they went to 2 NCAA championship games, which is unprecedented. But then he went to Utah, and this is where he got his rocks off. So he may just be a small market guy who can thrive in that space.
He sure is. And he made an all-star team before in the West.
Absolutely.
So he's no scrub. He just needs to stay healthy. But I'm just glad LaMelo has pieces around him. You got Devontae Grant. I said it on the show. Gordon Hayward. PJ Washington. You got Miles Bridges, who's an athletic specimen. Um, you got bigs. They drafted well. They got what's his name? Kerry from Duke.
Mm-hmm.
They got Richards from Kentucky, who I think was a steal. I thought he was going to be a mid first rounder, late first rounder.
Mm-hmm.
They got him at 42. And then here's a player who reminds me of Van Fleet a little bit. Grant Riller. Grant
Okay.
Riller. He's still watching film on him. He reminds me so much of Van Fleet, but the difference is he's taller. He's 6'2".
No. 2 inches helps a lot in the NBA. 6 foot and 6'2" is a big jump.
Yeah, it is. It's
That's a big
different.
jump, man.
Now they
It's the
say
difference.
6'3", but I think 6'3" with shoes is for him. So that's why I'm saying 6'2".
Got you. Yeah, if he's 6'3", then yeah, that's a whole that's a combo guard now. That's a legit combo guard that can actually guard the 2 guard position if he pans out to be 6'3". So yeah, all right. Yeah, it's just my thing is with all that young talent, man. You got to cultivate it, man. You got to get everybody on one accord. You got to let everybody know their roles out there. So it's always scary with that transition process because everybody think you get that AAU type thing going. Everybody think it's equal opportunity out there. So we'll see how that comes together. with you know what I mean, when the roles get defined and what have you. Because you see it with the Pelicans, man, like all that young talent. You got guys like Frank Jackson thinking, you know, he's as good as Lonzo, he's good as Holiday. You know what I mean? And it kind of conflates thing a bit, man. So I'm very interested to see how it shakes out, man.
Yes, indeed, brother. And the only reason why I didn't bring up Terry Rozier, for some reason, I think they're going to trade him.
They have to.
Yeah, you can't. You got to have. You don't want to cause conflict. You tell Terry
Mm-hmm.
Rozier, "Oh, you got to be a six man again." He ain't gonna take that shit.
No,
So
he ain't.
they're gonna they're gonna have to trade him respectfully and get that rolling. Uh, but I like what I heard from the coach. People are overreacting because they said, "Well, LaMelo has to earn it," but we believe that if he works hard, his potential will unleash. Pretty much, that's what they said. People were tripping like, "Oh, this and that," but they have to say that. They said that with PJ Washington last year. You see how well he did.
Yeah.
They said that with Devontae Graham. That's just Mitch Kupchak is old school. So
Mm-hmm.
they say stuff like that. But they were talking about LaMelo's potential, and it's the coach's job to unleash it. So they said the right stuff. I think people just think that they give these rookies the position and it's that. That's not how the NBA works.
No. I mean, people gotta understand, man. I don't care what you say, what you think. The NBA is a collection of the best basketball players in the world. Period. So yes, you got a high draft status or what have you, but you still gotta earn your keep. Like the worst dude on the bench at any given team, if you play against him at 24-hour fitness, he is gonna mop you like nobody's business. Like these are the best athletes in the world. You feel me? So people get a little beside themselves thinking that every person is going to transition the same way. Like you got to learn the way. You got to learn to separate yourself from the best of the best, which every NBA team has, believe it or not. Like Brian Scalabrine is a dude everybody love to shit on. You play against 6'9" Brian Scalabrine, and he gonna wash you, man. Like he actually does like one-on-one competitions like 10 grand for people. Because people think he
Oh yeah, I
sucks.
see that. You know what's funny? YouTuber Ticket TV, and I haven't been making any videos on him lately
That's
because
good. Good. Leave him
waste
alone.
of my time. Really,
There you go.
he don't really know basketball.
There you go.
But for someone who disses on young players like Ticket TV, Brian Scalabrine will give him the business.
Easy.
I mean, I'm
Easy.
not hating. I'm just being honest. We
It's
like
facts.
to shit on basketball players, but if we're not on that level, we can't really talk.
Yeah. It just got to be measured, though. Like, it's like, I mean, I guess you can say somebody sucks compared to the other person. I understand that.
Right.
But when you throw out somebody suck just on the merit that they can't hoop, nah, bro. Nah, homie. Nah. Sorry. Not true at all. Like Ryan Hollins, everybody hate on Ryan when he earns it. Actually, I think he's an idiot.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
at the end of the day, he's 7 foot and athletic. Ryan Hollins will watch the average American. It's not even, and it ain't even up for debate. It ain't up for freaking debate, man. So people gotta watch that. It's a certain line you gotta toe when you evaluating people who aren't as good as the next person because you get yourself you talk yourself into a little corner that you may not be able to logically get yourself out of, if that makes sense.
You know what was so, I wouldn't say funny, but just so ironic, man. Kenny Martin and his son Kenny Martin Jr. was drafted, right? Kenny
Yeah.
Martin Jr. was drafted to the Rockets.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy for the brother, nothing against him. But I
Mm-hmm.
thought it was so ironic because I remember him saying that when LaMelo played in the JBA, right?
Mm-hmm.
That his career is over. That
Mm-hmm.
LeVar ruined his career. Now look at him. His son didn't even make the first round, not even close.
Yep.
And he almost got undrafted. It just
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
funny to me how that worked.
Well, I'm glad you opened this can of worms. This is what I want to talk about. Just the 180 from the media about LaMelo and stuff. Because yeah, like you say, and I love Kenyon Martin, man. Kenyon Martin went to Bryan Adams High School in Texas, in Dallas to be exact. You
Right
know,
on.
everybody love Kenyon Martin. But yeah, so it just shows that people just talking out their ass. They're not talking from a standpoint of knowledge. And so when you hear some of these subjugations that they have, it's like, but where's the fruit? Like where's your logic play out as far as actuality? And that goes from even like talking about what LaMelo landed. Every stop that he had, his career was allegedly over. And I told you I had my Twitter spat with what's his name? God dog it. Woody Page from
Mm-hmm.
ESPN. He was one of the main ones talking that stuff about how LaMelo Ball, the career was over when he went to Lithuania. I swear I screenshotted all that stuff from them days. I like in 2 years we gonna see who right. And I hit him up and he was actually responding to me. He's like, so what? And all this. I'm like, nah, ain't no so what, homeboy. And then he switched the
Mm-hmm.
game up. He switched the game up, talking about show me where I said that. I was like, bro, I don't work for ESPN, dog. I don't have this file footage for you, dog. And then, he just kind of started, and he started correcting my grammar. I used the word redacted instead of retracted his statement. So, that funny style game you play when you know you ain't got nothing. But that's how the media members are doing right now. It's a trip to see everybody just 180 now. Like, yeah, we knew LaMelo would be there. Yeah, sure you did, buddy. Sure you did.
Oh, did you see Famous Los? He's a content creator. So M Grads, who's well known in hoops, right?
Okay.
He said that he knows a lot of people that gave up on LaMelo that said he wouldn't even be drafted. And Famous Low said, well, you're being over exaggerating. You're over exaggerating. People have never said that. And everybody sent screenshots to him. I kid you not.
That's
They
good, man.
really believed that no one was hating on LaMelo.
That's good.
It was drastic. It was dark, man. It was toxic. How much they dragged this kid.
Yep.
They said he wouldn't make it. They made fun of him. They made fun of his looks. They made fun of uh, his work ethic. They said he was
Yep.
lazy. They
Yep.
said he would never amount to anything.
They
For
say he
him
looked
to
like
be
Beavis and Butthead.
drafted,
I remember that. Yeah. They
yeah,
say yep, I remember that.
for him to be drafted, this is very momentous, man.
It is. And let's go even further on this topic. There are a lot of people who said LeVar Ball was a bad father, and on that same storyline, that he ruined his kid's future. You know what I'm saying? So, and then I watched the Odd Couple with Rob Parker and what's my man LeBron? What's his name?
Uh, uh,
Broussard, Chris
yeah,
Broussard.
Chris Broussard.
Yeah. So I see him talking about, and Rob Parker he just shows you how out of touch he is. He was saying that, yeah, people are telling me that that LeVar was a great dad, and that I just don't remember people hating on LeVar like that. I don't know what they're talking about. And I comment on that. Usually I try to stay out of that shit. But I'm just like, are you kidding me, man? All them attacks ad nauseum about how he's such a horrible father, taking his son out of college for a year or a semester, really. If you know how it really goes, if you're a one and done, you're only going to class for a semester, and you're probably not even doing work. But people act like this one semester of college is like going to be the rise and fall of your pro career if you're a pro caliber player. Yeah, and I'm gonna say, get the hell out of here. That's not what I want to say. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? But you see all that stuff, and I highlighted everything everybody was saying. Like Christine Lay, he said his boys are scared of him. He's a bad father.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It was plenty of those. But then, just how Buddy was saying, oh, nobody was saying that. They like to misremember. So they try to reverse engineer like reality and act like it never happened. I'm just like, nah, bro. Yeah, I'm not letting you skate away with that bullshit.
Oh, don't stop there. Sarah Spain,
Oh,
uh,
hell yeah. Then
Jamel
Stephen A
Hill.
co-signed it. Stephen A
Yep,
co-signed it after Sarah Spain. Yep, go ahead, my bad.
Jamel Hill, who is a known black man hater. This
Yep.
is well documented.
Well documented.
Uh, Michelle Beadle, who went on live when she was working at ESPN. I don't know why she had a job there. She was talentless. But let me digress. I remember Michelle Beadle saying, I hope LeVar's company fails and he stopped making money. She literally said this.
Yeah.
She literally said this.
Yeah. That's how she
Toxic,
feel. Toxic, bro.
man hating females, feminists.
Yep.
They hate brothers like LeVar. Now, we're not capping and trying to say LeVar's always right. When he's wrong, I've said, like, hey, he should have done it that way, but that's his kids. See, that's maturity responses right there. Not, oh, he's a horrible father. He's horrible. The worst thing I ever heard. He's horrible to his wife Tina. That's so ludicrous.
Where's the evidence of that?
I mean, he go. Many brothers would have been cheating on their wives, left
Oh,
their wives if they had a stroke like Tina's, and pretend that they care for their wife.
yeah.
Did you know on Ball in the Family? I know Ball in the Family somewhat exaggerates sometimes. It's reality TV, but one thing I thought may be true was when LeVar said the importance of Jermaine Jackson, that he could take care of his wife more because the
Mm-hmm.
facilities, the rehab facilities are pretty much closed in California because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he was thankful for Jermaine to see his vision in helping LaMelo out so he doesn't have to do it all the time. He can have Jermaine take care of it while he takes care of his wife. You mean to tell me he don't care about his wife after hearing all that?
Mm-hmm. I mean, when have you seen him not speak that way about his woman? When have you not seen him do that? So I just don't understand the logic of somebody who would even go there with that. I mean, if you saw evidence of it and you feel that way, no problem. If you have some information that I'm not privy to, no problem. But if you're just talking out your ass, like there's no evidence that has been. I'm sure if he puts something out there to cast doubt, it'll go viral. I'm sure of that. So my question is just where's the evidence of this phenomenon that you claim?
Or what about the time where he had an interview and he was talking about family, right? And he said if he ever hear his sons cuss at his wife, at their
Mm.
mother, they can't come to the house.
Yep.
This is
Yep.
what a father is. See, a lot of people, a lot of shines are not raised by fathers, so they disrespect strong fathers.
Mm-hmm.
They have daddy issues, and they need to go see a psychiatrist to work that out.
Well, thanks.
To go on and say he's a horrible father. Like I respect people that say, I don't really rock with LeVar. He's a little out there for me, but he's a good father. I respect that. At least they're not personal. They're usually raised with fathers, right?
Yeah.
So you can rock with that. But when they
Yeah.
say he's a horrible father, that he has ruined their kids' lives, these kids got Bentleys, they got freaking
Yeah.
exotic
Yeah.
cars.
Ruin
Uh,
me like that, please.
yeah, exactly. Let me have that horrible life. We're so privileged, brother, and spoiled. If that's a horrible father, then sign me up for that.
Sign me
Did you
up.
did you look at Ball in the Family
Yeah.
when Lonzo told LeVar that he's signing, not signing, but he's having his own
His own
brand?
brand. Yeah.
LeVar was so proud of him.
Yep.
And you know why? Because he listened to him on the advice of starting your own stuff, your own brand. He even said, you know what? Let me buy some gear myself from you to show that he's invested in his son. That's what fatherhood's all about.
There you go. And so it just comes full circle what we're talking about. People didn't have a dad like that, so they don't understand the overarching point that you're trying to instill leadership, ownership into your boys. Now, preferably, would he have them all under his tutelage on the big baller brand? I mean, there's no debate about that. Of course, he would prefer that. But him, as a forward-thinking man, which obviously he has, making 2.5 NBA players, he's like, man, the fact that you at least got the message to own your own stuff, man, boy, you've been listening to me. Let's do it. So that's what people don't understand because they're so used to thinking like a consumer. They're used to thinking like what's the word that I can use? You think reactive instead of proactive. So you think you get into these little spats about, oh, he ain't signed with the brand. Oh, he ain't rocking with his dad. And in the same breath, you're not watching because on TV, if you look at all the stuff they have, like when during COVID, when they was on TikTok or like Twitter or Instagram having these videos, they at their damn dad's house. They were there the whole time. So you don't pick up on the stuff that like, yeah, some of that stuff is media contrived, man, and you really are listening to what your dad imparted upon you, and you're applying to your life, man. I think
So
that's the
true,
ultimate
man.
goal. Yeah,
So
man.
true. And lastly, what we're going to talk about is um, how the season's going to go for Lonzo and LaMelo.
All
I'll
right.
say this about LaMelo, and we've been talking about his name and what it carries since he's LaMelo Ball, and he gets hated on and he doesn't get treated fairly by the media. Instead of treating him like a rookie, knowing he's going to have good games and bad games, he's going to have rookie mistakes like all rookies do. They're going to be biased. They're not going to be objective. I'm expecting it, so I'm cool with it. I know there's going
Yeah.
to be a game where LaMelo scores 20 plus points and have double digit assists, and I know there's going to be a game where LaMelo has 13 points, right? But he
Mm-hmm.
he probably shot 5 for 15, and he
Mm-hmm.
only barely had 5 assists, and it was against the Lakers. There's going to be a game like that,
Yeah.
and they're going to complain about that. The good thing about LaMelo, and this is not a diss to Lonzo, I'm just saying this is the mentality from LaMelo. If Lonzo had a game 13-7, right? Most people would say, "Hey, that's great." LaMelo has a game 13-7. That's a bad game for LaMelo.
Yeah.
Just how
Well,
he is. You get
yeah.
what I mean?
No, I do. And I think, you know what, contrary to what most people would decipher that, I think that's a good thing. I think that because well, here's the thing. You just gotta have you gotta overstand people at some point. At some point, you gotta know the game. And I think we should make a video where we just earmark this. Because it's gonna happen. It's absolutely positively gonna happen. Bro, in my group in Hoop Jargon, bro, I straight up laid out this guy who been for 2 years talking all that shit about LaMelo, talking about he ain't playing against real college talent. I laid him out real good, man. I screenshotted everything he said over the course of 2 years, just talking out his ass. I was like, so now what, bro? And everybody's laughing and stuff. So we got to earmark it the same way because of course it's gonna happen. So now, because all this stuff they said about his career not gonna jump off, that's obsolete now. So now, what you got to hang your hat on? You hang your hat on him not being successful as he could potentially be. So yeah, of course you're gonna see that. But it's good though, like because their father didn't raise him to be weak. So that's just gonna come with the process, man.
Oh yeah, you know it's coming. LaMelo Ball scores 14 points and barely has 5 assists, but he shot 5 for 15, 5 for 17. They'll look at his shot percentage and all that, say that's a horrible game. But that's actually a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
That means his standard is higher. One thing I don't
Mm-hmm.
have to worry about LaMelo, for some reason, he doesn't get down on himself.
Nope.
I respect that. I respect that because I know that he sees himself as better than what people think he is. And you
Mm-hmm.
got to have that, especially in the NBA. You got to have that confidence. What I want Lonzo to do, I want him to start worrying about himself. If he sees an open lane, you drive up there and you yam it on somebody.
There you go.
Because he been trying to help people for 3 years, and not one person helps him out. There were times when Lonzo was cutting it under the basket, right? You would think alley oop for a dunk. They're passing that up. You
Yep.
see? Selfish teammates. What
Yep.
Lonzo got to do is you got to wave off some people. When you have
Yep.
a one-on-one coverage or you see a defense that's causing the offense problems, you got to tell the other guard, hey, I got this.
Mm-hmm.
Because what happens when he passes the ball back to a guy like Etwan? I'm glad he's not on the team, by the
Oh,
way.
it's going up.
I know. There wasn't a shot that Etwan didn't thought he could make.
That bad boy
Golly,
going up.
motherfucker.
That bad boy going up.
It didn't matter
Yeah.
if he had 2 or 3 defenders on him.
Defender Schmenders.
Golly.
He was the most open 3-point missing dude I've ever seen in my life. That dude would hit the most difficult shots. He wide open, got time to get his body set. Oh, that's coming Clank. That's Clank City, bro.
That's the weirdest thing, man. Etwan would hit a whole crowd on him.
Yeah.
But if you're not on him, he'll miss it.
Maybe he overthinks. I don't know, but man, that's always been funny watching each one more. I'm like, man, this dude, he got focus issues, man.
You sure do, man. Brother, man, I want to thank you for being on the show. Uh,
Yeah,
Everyone
man.
that's listening, subscribe to Hoop Jargon, man. You're very underrated on YouTube. I mean
Appreciate it,
that.
bro.
And it's good to listen to people that know hoops. And you definitely do.
Appreciate it, man. And I credit you for jump starting my YouTube career, man. I'm sitting at about 333 subscribers, trying to get it popping, man. I was sitting at probably about 40 before I met you. So yeah, man. I want to keep it rocking, man. So I'm always gonna keep it. I'm gonna shoot it how I see it, and if you don't like it, you don't like it. If you do, awesome. I mean, just drop a comment, and I appreciate the people who patronize my videos. I think I've turned to the HBCU Sport Whisperer. I think people like those videos the most, so I'm gonna try to keep that shit cracking too. And man, I appreciate you having me, bro.
Oh, for sure, man. I want you to get monetized, man. Help this
Yes,
brother
sir.
get 1,000 subs. You know what you
There
can
we
do,
go, man.
man. I'm telling you, I'm excited for that. But thank you guys for joining the show, listening. We're gonna keep doing this more. Peace to everyone.